Well, Baroness Altman is somebody who has done such fantastic work on pensions and much more that I admire. But inevitably, in this instance, I completely disagree with her. But also, I think the whole tenor of her remarks and the remarks made by many since then. I actually thought that when Baroness Ritchie was speaking, that was the kind of detail I'd like to go through in terms of scrutinising the bill and the kind of discussion I assumed we'd be having here. But in fact, it's become much more of a broader point of view. And I'd like to just comment on a few things, not to drag this out too long. Baroness Altman says that the issues in this bill go far deeper and are more important and fundamental than Brexit. But I think that's because so many people here in this House still don't really understand what Brexit was all about and don't understand the important fundamental principles at the heart of Brexit. And don't understand, even now, as we've heard, why millions of people voted for it. And I think that when the emphasis is constantly on the trustworthiness and integrity and in restoring trust of the UK government internationally, I think that people maybe ought to consider that that's always the external focus in this discussion. But there's an internal focus. I mean, surely at this moment of all times, when political parties on all sides have got a very fragile relationship with the voting public, who, let's be honest, are pretty disillusioned, that what we need to consider is how we can restore trustworthiness and integrity and trust with the UK voters here at home. And I think the key of this protocol bill is that many people in the UK, when they voted in 2019 in that manifesto, wanted to see through the decision of 2016 to leave the European Union. The issue of Northern Ireland was one of the ways that people were saying, you can't have Brexit because look at the Northern Irish issue. And so people wanted to find a solution to it. And I regret that they were over-reassured by the government when they were told, don't worry, we've dealt with the protocol issue. I always had concerns about that protocol issue. But the intention was to not allow the issue of Northern Ireland to undermine the decision of 2016. Because lest we forget, that 2016 was nearly undermined. For those who say, oh, you know, our word is our oath and so on here, I think, you didn't think that then because everybody else had actually voted for something and you managed to say it didn't make any difference. You're going to ignore it. It seems so much of the discussion we've had, even now, I just feel it's so disingenuous. So I'd like to ask the government, you know, and the opponents of the government and the government, when people say surely we should just spend a bit more time, pause. I mean, how long do you... I mean, is it any wonder nothing gets done in this country if people think that this is a speedy process? I mean, since 2019, we've had this protocol bill, and it's going wrong, and something needs to be done. The idea that you can pause it and stop it and reconsider is not because anybody thinks we shouldn't rush it through, because really the message is, can the government pause it, slow down, change their mind and agree with me? I mean, that is not the same as saying pause and rethink. It's pause and do what I tell you to do. Baroness Altman suggests that the bill creates a bullying approach to negotiations with the EU, which I disagree with. And yet, for me, what it really, this debate so far has illustrated, is the bullying approach within this House and within this discussion. I mean, Baroness Chapman of Darlington says that the bill isn't going to get through this House unless it's changed beyond all recognition. Well, I mean, really? Do we have votes? Or, you know, what do you mean it's not getting through? Sorry, yeah, fine. Fine.
With the Noble Baroness...
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Sorry, we will take a while to learn sometimes. Just to correct what the Noble Baroness said about my contribution, I didn't say what she said, that this bill would not get through. I just said that it would not get an easy ride, and I think the discussion today has rather borne that out.
Okay. I mean, I wrote down, and we'll check, but it did. it was said that if there are not substantial alterations to this bill, this House will block it. And I was suggesting that maybe it's a bit of an affront to democracy for people in this House to say we should block this bill, because that is not our decision. And when people talk here about how the bill is an affront to democratic decision-making, I'd just like to point out that threatening to block a bill is an affront to democratic decision-making. When we say that we're worried that this bill bypasses Parliament, and people say that they want to protect democratic norms, and we don't want to become an the government to become an elected dictatorship, I think we should note that blocking this bill would imply bypassing Parliament, undermining democratic norms, and turning this House into an unelected dictatorship. So just finally, why do I think the bill is needed? On this bit I can't go into. I think that the problems of the operation of the protocol are well documented. Many people have greater experience of it, and I think that when we scrutinise the bill and go through it, that's what we should talk about, and whether the bill is fit for purpose to resolve some of those things. I agree with that. But the reason why a bill is needed is surely because, as everyone here seems so enthusiastic about the rule of law will be differently applied to the people of Northern Ireland unless we do something about the way that the protocol is at the moment being enacted. To be able to ensure that all citizens of the United Kingdom are treated equally under the law, we need to do something. Not that all citizens are treated equally under the rule of law in the UK, apart from a certain section of the UK who will be subject to decisions made by legislators that they have no control over. As a civil libertarian, regardless of what you think of Brexit, if you believe in the rule of law, we cannot let things stand as it happens, as they are, and I think we need to urgently do something. And whilst some people have indicated that what really the problem is Brexit, that ship has sailed. The British people spoke. Brexit is a reality. You have to live with that, and we have to ensure that the people of Northern Ireland aren't punished. Sorry. Oh, sorry.
The noble lady, if she's seen the latest opinion poll, which, when you exclude don't know, show that 60% of British people want to rejoin the EU.
I'm always delighted when people think that opinion polls and what's said on Twitter is democracy in real life. Why bother with the ballot box? I don't know why we bother, really. I mean, just go to an opinion poll. I believe in democracy, the democratic right of the British and the UK people to decide on their decisions without rushing off to optimum research or wherever it is.